Okay, so I want to call the October 7th, 2021 Stormwater Committee meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone for being here today. We appreciate you taking out from your busy days to be here to participate in this public process. I want to remind everyone when you speak in the mic, just try to be careful about only pressing the mic button once, because we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the sound being cut off when it gets pushed too many times. So push it once to turn it on, once to turn it off. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different today in order to take care of some special information that we want to hear. So the first thing we're going to do, I guess we can go ahead and take our decision letters and minutes now that we have everybody. Okay. All right, so we're going to ask everyone on the committee to look at the minutes and the letters for the previous month's cases and see if you have any edits, minutes, or corrections, and if any committee member would like to offer any clarifications of the motions that were made, just to make sure everybody understands how the minutes are currently worded, so that we have a very clear understanding of what was intended in the past meeting. So.
Chairman, I was not in attendance, so I will recuse myself from the vote.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay, I'm seeing happy eyes and thumbs up. That's always a great sign. All right. Does anyone have a clarification that they'd like to make of anything that's currently in the minutes? Okay.
No clarification on this, and I think the minutes
Okay.
are what we discussed.
All right. Okay. Are we ready for a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion's been made to approve the minutes and decision letters as presented. Is there any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, all right, so at this time, we want to have our guest speaker come up just so he doesn't have to sit through 4 cases. Understand we have Cyrus and Ron. Ron Taylor is going to be making the presentation for giving us an update on a Clean Water Nashville Metro Water project involving Mill Creek. I thought would just be instructive for everyone to understand. So welcome, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Working? We're always glad to talk about what we do because people often don't want to hear about it. So thank you for the opportunity. Clean Water Nashville, just as a reminder, is a capital program to comply with the consent decree, an enforcement action from EPA, the Department of Justice, TDEC, Tennessee Attorney General's Office for overflows, combined sewer and sanitary sewer overflows, a large problem. The problem is complex enough that it takes 75 projects to deal with that, so we branded those projects Clean Water Nashville. The Mill Creek project is the second largest in that group of projects. Mill Creek is a sanitary system, although at times it looks almost like it's a combined system. There are 3 basic problems in the Mill Creek system, so problem definition. It's a high growth area. I-24 corridor, the fastest growing area we've got in Nashville, so that means a lot of flow and increasing flows, particularly over the planning period. Second, aging infrastructure. Sewers don't age well. They crack, the joints leak, manholes leak. Whenever we get serious rainfall events, groundwater table rises above that, every one of those defects is a leak. So we get way too much flow in wet weather we can handle. The third problem is one of capacity. For most of the south portion of Nashville, the areas that run along Mill Creek have 2 parallel trunks. However, when it approaches Mud Island is a spot on Mill Creek just before it goes under Murfreesboro Road. Those 2 pipes converge into a single pipe. So it's kind of like being on 4-lane interstate that goes down to 2 right before you get into town. Instead of a traffic backup, we get overflows. Because then if the magnitude of that problem is so complex, the solution set is also complex. So there's 4 components as part of this Mill Creek project. The first is a tunnel. Tunnel will go from our Lebanon Road property near the Omaha Water Plant out to Mud Island, 2.5 miles of tunnel. The second is we're going to build a 100 million gallon per day pumping station. It only operates in wet weather. So it'll take all that extra flow that comes in, removes it, and stores it into our third component, 60 million gallons of storage at the Lebanon Road site. The fourth component is sewer rehab. Because those sewers leak so much, we've got to make a commitment over the next few years to do multiple rehab projects in that Mill Creek Basin. So we've got rehab planned for several years. So it's a pretty complex thing. It's not a stormwater project, although we do inadvertently seriously convey a lot of groundwater during those events. We work with our groundwater sisters and brothers because our goals for water quality are very similar. So that's a really high-level view. Do I need to go into further detail about anything?
Brief is excellent, but I think the main thing we wanted to clarify is this is primarily to help our sewer system accommodate extra flows during storm events.
Exactly.
It's not a flood storage infrastructure project. It's a sewer system / flood mitigation.
Exactly.
Project. Okay.
It will remove probably an extra 100 million gallon per day rate of groundwater, but that's nothing compared to what Mill Creek does when it floods, 5,000 CFS.
Okay. Good deal. And when I read that in the paper, I thought people might have a little bit different understanding of what kind of anticipated benefits to expect from this. This is not going to address traditional flood control. It's just going to make our sewer system overflow less and do less damage. Okay. And I'm sorry if I missed this at the beginning, but is this part of the consent decree as well?
It is part of the consent decree.
Okay. All right. All right. We appreciate it very much, Mr. Taylor.
Happy to talk about our projects anytime.
All right. Thank you for your time. Okay, so at this time, we're going to take care of a little bit of administrative business that was a little bit awkward to take care of during the minutes and decision letters. And so I want to ask Ms. Doan to kind of hold those photos ready that I was going to ask her to show. And so I want to ask Ms. Ronette Adams-Taylor to offer a motion to clarify a point that was just approved in our minutes and decision letters.
I can help if that would be useful.
That would be very acceptable. Thank you.
I apologize for not being at the last committee meeting. I know I'm the one with kind of the continuity of knowledge on this issue, and unfortunately I had an unavoidable conflict. But I did watch the video of the last meeting, and my concern with the Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church matter was that there was some lack of clarity in the way the motion was stated. So what I would like you to do today to resolve that, if at all possible, is to make a new motion clarifying that what the decision letter says today incorporates what you intended your motion to be, and have that seconded and voted on specifically.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Costonis. So if you want to refer to the minutes to refresh your memory, because that's my understanding of what you and staff worked out together outside of a committee dialogue.
That's correct. And so in restating my motion, as it relates to Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church, the motion was that the site is to plant the 268 cumulative inches of trees as recommended by the Stormwater staff, with only requiring 230 cumulative inches to have 100% survivability.
I'm sorry, your motion only needs to say really that the contents of the decision letter as before the committee members today accurately reflects what you intended your motion to say, and make sure that everybody agrees with that and adopts that as the motion of this committee.
Perfect.
So if you want to put that in the form of a motion now to address what she just said, that'd be great.
So, to restate my motion, the minutes that were reflected from our September the 2nd meeting as it relates to Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church are accurate.
And the decision
And the
letter.
decision was accurate as reflected in the minutes. Is that sufficient enough?
I mostly preferred you to refer to the decision letter, sorry.
Okay. As stated in the decision letter from September the 2nd, as it relates to Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church, it reflects the motion that I made accurately. Is that what you want me to say?
Clarify your motion
How about we
to
write it down?
incorporate those
Because obviously I'm
conditions.
not getting what you want me to say. Let me just state this. The decision letter from the September the 2nd, 2021 letters that were made as it relates to Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church are accurately reflected in both the decision letters and the minutes that are as stated and as approved by this committee on October the 7th, 2021. Is that okay?
I'm so sorry. What I want you all to say is, to the extent there's any discrepancy between the oral motion made in the video of the past meeting and what is written in this decision letter, you all are choosing to adopt this decision letter's contents as your current motion and voting on that.
So it sounds like your motion needs to be rephrased one more time.
Right?
That's
Because it's
okay.
getting a little bit, yeah, it's getting a little bit confusing, so I can imagine that it's going to be confusing to the applicant. So,
Would you,
if you can repeat it for me again, so that we can have it
Sure,
one more
sure.
time.
So basically, to the extent there is any discrepancy between the decision letter that is before the committee at this meeting, and which is available as a public record, and the wording of the motion at the September 2 meeting, it is your intention that the current motion of the committee would be to incorporate the terms of the decision letter that is before you this morning and adopt that as the motion of this committee resolving this matter.
That is a lot. That's a lot to put in
okay,
a statement.
all right, so this, a prerogative as chair. Ms. Costos, I'm going to ask you to write that out.
Thank you, that would be great.
And so we're going to take a momentary pause so that can take place, and then we'll proceed with that matter of business. So while that's being done, I'm going to ask Ms. Doan to show the photographs for the Lake Providence representative that is here this morning. Just as kind of a point of reference, there was some discussion in the previous meeting that these types of creek and buffer restoration projects can be very, very expensive. And so I thought I would illustrate one of the best examples in our community of how that's been done very cost effectively. So this is a tributary of West Fork of Browns Creek that a group of school children here in Nashville adopted. This is a before photo. So the second photo shows a continuation of that side. You can see it's completely mowed. Most of the trees have been cut. Okay, please proceed to the next one. All right, this is the growth of the established buffer a year later. So you can see most of the trees that are there are still small, still in seedling size. There are a few trees that are maybe 6 feet tall at max, and then there's a few trees that were left that were older trees. All right, now let's proceed to the next set of photos. Rebecca, should be the photos taken this year. Okay, all right. then I'm not going to be able to make the point I wanted to make, so. Okay, I will send you all the other photos, but the point I want to make is this entire project was done for about $2,500 with volunteer labor, with assistance from nonprofits in town, and it looks fantastic today. So I just want to encourage you that there's some other options besides some of the more expensive options that I think you all were referring to previously. So we didn't want to give the community the impression, or you the impression, that this has to be an onerous experience to try to comply with the buffer ordinance. It can be rather inexpensive, and it can be a lot of fun for your church community to participate in, as these school children demonstrated in our community. So thank you, sir. All right, are we ready for the motion? I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Well, I had more photos that would have bought us more time, but it was such a big file, I couldn't.
What I was
evidently
suggesting is
couldn't
that
get it to her.
actually maybe Ms. Doan could put the language of the decision letter on the screen so that the audience and viewers can see what we're referring to.
Okay, good, okay.
And Chairman.
Logan, should I be using the file called fourth?
Okay, so why don't we take about a 5-minute recess, and then we'll reconvene.